What is up, people? UFC Fight Island 6 is in the books. Welcome to our live post-fight show. I'm Matthew Wells. Got Pat Auger on the other side there. We're going to break down this card a little bit. Exciting main event. Brian Ortega, Korean Zombie. Quite a clinic from Brian Ortega. I don't know how many people saw that coming, but Pat, tell me what your thoughts were on this one coming in, man.
This fight about end of the first round, I was like, okay, they're feeling each other out. We'll see where it goes. Second round, it started to turn more into what I expected it to, with Zombie kind of leading, pressuring. And then after that second knockdown, it turned into a fight that was the complete opposite of what I would expected. Ortega looked like a masterful striker out there. Was doing all sorts of feints, was doing all sorts of different techniques to throw Zombie off. Was just hitting Zombie every which way. And Zombie, to me, definitely looked timid. He didn't look like Zombie at all. He didn't like walk forward, lumber, constantly throw. He was in and out. He was eating shots and then backing up. And even when he would pressure Ortega and get him up against the fence, he wouldn't pull the trigger. Like I saw him pressure Ortega multiple times, where Ortega then stopped being able to touch him up because he wasn't at range. That was where Ortega was having his real success. And Ortega's, moving on the back foot, and Zombie's just standing there and might throw one punch and then wait. And then Ortega hits a couple punches, moves it back out center or circles out and keeps it at range. This was completely different than what I expected. This is not what I was expecting to happen whatsoever. What about you? What'd you think?
No, I completely agree. This new and improved Brian Ortega, no hair and all, was really, really impressive because he was showing a lot of different wrinkles that we haven't seen from his game before. I've always been a fan of his stand-up game, and obviously Brian Ortega is a guy that everybody knows. His nickname is T-City. He's a beast on the mat, right? If he gets a hold of you, good luck getting away from him, type thing. But I've always been a fan of his striking. I mean, aside from the defense, like I always thought he was really slick with like sneaking jabs in, and he had decent movement. But hey, guys were able to find his chin a lot, and he did a lot of adjustments on his defense, apparently, as we just saw. So it looked really good. He was able to effectively shut Zombie down, even though he was on that back foot. We've talked about before being that aggressive counterpuncher. Like you don't always, like, just because you're on your back foot doesn't mean you're necessarily like in a bad position. You just watch this fight. Watch what Ortega did. He stayed on the outside. He circled around. He was backing up, but he was finding that chin, and he was sticking and moving, and it was just all put together really, really well. And on the flip side of that, Zombie just couldn't get anything going, And it wasn't like, he was getting battered pretty bad. He got dropped a couple of times, but it never felt like that he was completely out of the fight. It was just that he couldn't get any significant offense mounted. Like he would land a shot here and there, but it was just like he couldn't sway that momentum in his favor in any way. And I think that was really shocking to me, because Zombie is usually that guy that's like leading that charge, and that's part of why he has that nickname, Zombie. Like, keep punching me, I'm still coming forward. But
Yeah.
this time just the offense wasn't there.
Yeah, it definitely felt like he was gun shy, even from the get-go, where before he got rocked, or in the second round where he was finding more success and was, in my opinion, winning that round until he got dropped. He just seemed gun shy the whole time. I've never seen Zombie be like that ever. And that's I know he's supposed to be, a new and improved Zombie. He's supposed to have been a resurgence himself. But if that's what, and DC also mentioned that, Zombie had said in the lead up to this fight, he didn't want to let that guy out who's just swinging and moving forward. But I think he needed to more. I mean, it's one of those things. He just, when he was pressuring, he was finding some success. He was eating some shots. But even the spinning back fist that dropped him in the second round, that was just a really slick move by Ortega, and it was because Zombie was chasing him. But other than that, Zombie was winning that striking exchange. That's the only round where he just clearly was winning the striking exchange. After that second drop, he stopped chasing. He would throw, I saw maybe 2 or 3 more combinations the entire fight from Zombie after that. Otherwise, it was just one-offs or trying to set something up and never really getting there. So I think it was, again, a beautiful job by Ortega, just great mixing things up. completely different dimension than we've seen out of him, as you mentioned, in the striking defense department, doing a lot better in that regard. But it also just seemed like once Zombie got hurt, he just went gun shy for good, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys are watching this right now, hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the channel. One thing that stood out to me was in that second round when Zombie caught that spinning back elbow. I was just like, my goodness, this dude just is like a magnet for the most random elbows ever. You know, obviously the famous up elbow from Yair Rodriguez ending that fight, which he was dominating literally until that last second. And I was like, man, is this going to be the end right here? Another elbow to get him out of there? And, you know, credit to him for surviving. Again, there's that Zombie nickname. Like, he's hard to put away. But that was just, I found that really fascinating. I was like, does he just, I guess, you know, those kind of sneaky things like that will catch him off guard. But other than that, I mean, he's pretty solid defensively, you know, tonight notwithstanding, I guess.
Yeah. It's hard to say because tonight he just ate every single shot under the sun, and you know, he got out of the way of a couple of them, but other than that, was just, I mean, outclassed in every respect. It was bad. Ortega made Zombie look like a much less elite fighter than Zombie is, and that's saying a lot. That's a high praise for Ortega and a slight criticism of Zombie for just whatever his game plan was kind of went out the window once. Maybe he had a flashback. It was just like, I can't take another elbow. I gotta, you know, just not get knocked out. I'm not sure. I have no idea what happened there.
For sure. 50-45 on all three judges' scorecards. I saw a couple of people score the last round for Zombie because he was being a little bit more aggressive. He knew he was behind. I mean, everybody in the world knew he was behind 4 rounds in that fight. So I saw some people give him that 5th round, which I guess, but I still had it 50-45 as well. And of course, this now sets up the title fight, right? There's nobody else really there to challenge Volkanovsky, especially after a performance like that. So how do you feel? First off, did you have all 5 rounds for Ortega as well? And what do you think about this upcoming title fight that Dana White has apparently already confirmed?
Yeah, no, it seems like Dana is going to go ahead and move forward with Ortega getting another shot. I'd agree with it too, just based on where contenders are at. When it comes down to the fight itself, yeah, I had all 5 rounds for Ortega. I thought second round, you know, up until, again, he got rocked, I had for Zombie, but that knockdown was enough to sway it. And then the 5th round, it was closer, but still, to me, Ortega did more. And yeah, I think that fight will be interesting. If Zombie is able to, if Ortega is able to, is able to, you know, look like he did tonight, Volkanovski's got a lot of training to do and a lot of work to do to make sure he doesn't get pieced up as bad as Zombie did, because Ortega looked completely different and looks like a monster right now. So I'm excited for it. I think it's a great fight. Yeah, I mean, do you think that this is the next contender, that it makes sense to have Ortega go ahead and go up against Volkanovsky, or do you think there's somebody else that got overlooked? For me, Ortega is the clear #1 contender after this fight.
No, yeah, it's definitely Ortega for me. I mean, he was there in the rankings wise. Obviously, Max Holloway was there at #1, but he's at #2, and this is a performance that no matter if Max was coming off a win or a loss, you could say, hey, it's time for Ortega to get that shot again. But besides that, I mean, Zabit was right there at #3, but he was scheduled to fight Yair, and that fell off. So, you know, it makes sense to me. Like, I have no issues with this booking whatsoever whenever it takes place. The only problem is if they don't, you know, schedule that Zabit and Yair fight again soon. I don't know if they've tried to reschedule that again yet, but we're looking at over a year before we see Zabit fight again. So he's becoming kind of like an afterthought. But, I mean, that's not really his fault. Still, yeah, let me see Ortega and Volkanovsky as soon as you guys want to book it, because Ortega didn't take a lot of damage in this fight. I mean, he's got a couple of nicks and bruises as I'm watching his little post-fight thing here right now, but largely, like, he didn't take that much damage. I mean, he had a couple of leg kicks, but I think he'll be all right, you know, after a month or so. So maybe early 2021 we get this. What do you think?
I'd be down with that. Put it on the Connor Dustin card. I think that sounds like a plan. If that happens, put it
in Cowboy Stadium. Yes.
Hey, you're in Cowboy Stadium. Let's do it. Yeah. No, I mean, and yeah, if you're, again, besides hitting that like and subscribe button, Do you guys think that it's Ortega time? I hate to say it, but yeah. Do you think it's Ortega time? Do you think he should be getting that title shot? Because I want to know. Because I've heard some people argue that Qatar should get it too, which is an interesting call. I personally don't agree with that, but let me know if you think anyone else should get the title shot over Ortega, especially after this performance.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, hey, yeah, for sure. Let us know if you guys disagree with anything. But let's go ahead and talk about this co-main right now, because this co-main was pretty interesting. At least I thought on paper coming in. I thought it would be an opportunity for, Jessica Andrade to do her thing, 125, and for Katlyn Chookagian to kind of, make another push to make a run at Valentina again, because we saw how that fight went and it wasn't very pretty. But this was really surprising to me that it ended up as quickly as it did, because I thought Katlyn Chookagian was going to be able to stay on the outside more, pick her apart more. There were a couple of times she engaged with the clinch, which was surprising that she didn't immediately try to separate herself from Andrade, because, hey, what happens when Andrade gets a hold of your waist? You're going for a ride, and that's what happened. So, yeah. I don't know. I thought that Chookagian would have come in with a little bit different game plan, and since she didn't, thus the result. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I kind of get it, because I mean, you're looking at an 8-inch difference in height, which is just bonkers. Like, I've never seen Katlyn Chookagian look that big with somebody in the octagon. And again, that's just more of a testament to Andrade's power, because she's fought up at 135 and she's been slamming people. She's just insanely strong. It's ridiculous. Just all compact muscle. That's her entire weight. I'm pretty sure is just all one big ball of muscle. And so, it was one of those things where I get the clinch work, because, being that much taller, it's probably easier to put the head down, get the knees in. She was getting a couple knee strikes on there, getting a couple shots. So I sort of understood that. But yeah, she went for a ride and was able to get back up pretty, successfully, did well on the ground, all of that. But I did not expect a body shot KO. But I mean, Andrade's power has always been there, but at 135 especially, she wasn't knocking girls out, right? Like, it was a lot of decisions, a couple of chokes, I believe. Nothing wasn't really a TKO or a KO from power. We'd seen that at 115, but that makes sense, 20 pounds lighter. 125, that power is still there, because that was just straight into the body, and Chookagian clearly didn't want any more of it. I wasn't sure if she was going to get out of the round, because there were 7 seconds left, but Andrade comes and gets the fight. I think you got to give her the title shot now, because I don't know who else. You got Valentina versus Maya obviously booked, but after that, who else are you going to give Valentina at this point?
No, yeah, that's a great point. And it's a weird place for her, because obviously she was Andrade, was coming off of 2 losses after being at strawweight for, like you mentioned, she was at bantamweight before that, went on her strawweight run, did her thing, and then, hits the Weili Zhang and Rose Namajunas roadblock, and was like, all right, let's try this 125 thing. And hey, it looked really good. Just like when she initially went to strawweight, she looked really good when she fought Jessica Penne. So it's interesting, because she was ranked number 2 at strawweight, goes up a weight class, dominates a former title challenger. Where do you put her right now? And that's going to be, I think, the argument on Twitter right now. I saw Jessica I chime in. She was like, she needs to chill out on this title talk and all this things like that. Well, it's kind of tough to figure out where they're going to place her, because she's currently not on the rankings at 125. So when they update the rankings, where do you think she's going to be placed next week?
Oh, I think she's number 1, 100%. And if you disagree in the chat, let me know right now, because I will just straight up fight you. It's number 1. Number 1 time for Andrade. There's no way she's not number 1 contender. She dominated Chookagian, who was the number 1 contender. And when you look at the rest of the rankings, right, these are all women that Valentina has beat easily, or that, have looked okay. Nobody's gone up there and made the statement that Andrade did. Right, even in Chookagian's losses, they were generally close decisions. She's been kind of, she's been unchallenged in a way other than Valentina. That was the only person who really dominated her. So now you have Andrade going in there, finishing in her first round quicker than even Valentina did. You got to give her the number 1 spot. I think it's a done deal for me. Where would you place her though?
Well, I would have her at number 2, because I like to have the rankings as fluid as the title shots are. I'm very pro wrestling-esque in that sense. So obviously Jennifer Maia is getting that next shot.
Okay.
So Jennifer Maia is number 1 right now. I would slide her in at number 2.
Isn't
After
Jennifer
that,
Maia actually at like number 4 right now or something?
I think she's
like,
no, she's actually number 2. She moved up a spot this past week.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but Katlyn Chookagian was number 1. So, I like to have my current title challenger be that number 1 contender, because number 1 contender means you're getting the next shot, and that's how I interpret things. I don't know why most people don't. You have a title challenger sitting at number 10 on fight week. Like, what do you do? Like, why? Like,
Dan Henderson, man, number 14, coming in with that number 14 title shot, almost beating Bisbee too. Just unreal. Yeah, that's how you got to do it, man. Clearly.
I mean, I guess if you got somebody that low down, it becomes like part of the story. Oh, it's a long shot title contender. Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm more pro wrestling-esque on it. Number 1, you get the next shot.
That's the classic pro wrestling, though. Like, let the way underdog get the title shot. Like,
like on a Monday Night Raw or something. But like on its pay-per-view time, this is the number 1 contender for the title. You know how it goes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, no, I think that's how it should be. Obviously, the winner of, if Maia somehow beats Shevchenko's obviously getting a rematch. So we may find Andrade fighting someone else, maybe Jessica Eyes, and she spoke up immediately on Twitter and said she'll let on the title talk. So hey, why not? That could be like the fight in reserve in case if Maia does pull off the miracle and shocks the world.
Yeah, or I say if Maia ends up being Shevchenko, why not just do Shev versus Andrade, right? Let's just get that fight, going.
Just strip Maia the title. Just strip Maia the title.
Yeah, just strip Maia the title. Just pull a GDR. Nah. Let's strip Maia the title, and there you go. That's that, Jesus man. Christ. Makes sense.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, hey, I wouldn't put it past the UFC. They'd find a reason. Like, oh, Jennifer Maia's hurt, and then Jennifer Maia tries to tweet out, "I'm not hurt," and you're like, "Oh, she's hurt. Sorry, we're stripping you."
Yeah.
For sure. So we got the.
She turned down this fight so many times. That's what Dana would say. I know it.
We just got the bonuses in from tonight. Fight of the night. Obviously, I think this is the one a lot of people thought was going to be fight of the night. Was Gamrot versus Kutataladze, or however you say his last name. Performance of the night: Andrade and Jimmy Crute. No surprises there for me.
Yeah, no, I'd say that makes sense. I can't imagine. You could maybe argue that Said Nurmagomedov should have gotten a bonus, maybe, but I think that's the right call.
It's tough. It's tough to give the first fight of the night a bonus. I mean, because it's like he was already the biggest favorite on the card, so it was kind of like you did exactly what you were supposed to do. So unless you pull off like some ridiculous finish that we haven't seen before, like last week, then yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know which exact finish you're talking about, but I get the general gist of it.
You know what I'm talking about. The crazy catch, kick, spinning, back kick to the jaw, whatever the hell people are calling it these days. Yeah, that was that. But yeah, man, that was a very, very impressive performance from Jessica Andrade. Like I said, let's talk about the next fight on the card, which was Jim Crute, bonus winner. Did this surprise you? Because I thought that this fight was going to be one of those fights that were just two guys going back and forth for 3 rounds, but that didn't happen.
That didn't happen at all, and it didn't surprise me at all, honestly. I put a bet on Crute to win by TKO the first round. I got only a little bit of money, but like just because if you look at their history, both of those guys just, I expected it to be more of a slugfest, but I figured power was going to hit one of them either way. They've both been finished. Could have gone for a submission instead of a TKO. Like, I wouldn't have been shocked if that happened, but to me, this was pretty much exactly how I expected it to play out.
Yeah, no, I mean, the knockout surprised me. I thought it was going to be like the Gamrot fight. I thought it was just going to be like back and forth. Apparently I was wrong. I mean, I wasn't complaining that this fight was over quickly because, I wasn't terribly interested in the outcome of it, to be honest with you completely. But hey, it was a nice finish. And one thing I thought, Jim Crute's a nice guy and everything, right? But I thought after he knocked him out and immediately went and sat next to him and put his arm around him, I thought he was going to mime the selfie and do that sort of celebration. And that would have been the most savage celebration we've ever seen in the UFC. And I was thinking that was going to happen, but it did not. He's a much nicer guy. And apparently, I think of things like that. So it's just where we are.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not surprising you think of things like that because, it's the fight game. I wouldn't have been shocked at all had he done that. That's a great idea, to be honest. But yeah, no, he's a much nicer dude. Just went for a little hug and then was like, all right. And just, that was that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a good performance for him. So congrats to him. Congrats on the bonus. Anything else to say on this one?
No, other than I had no idea that Khamzat Chimaev was sitting next to Dana White until Crute jumped over the fence and did that. I guess is Chimaev like part of the bonus team now? I don't know, man. He's just sitting there looking like Sean Shelby for the night. So
apparently,
we'll see where that goes. But
hey, he was ready to jump in the cage and go to work, man. That's how he looked. Yeah. So Chimaev News Network, breaking news: Chimaev cage side all night long, right next to Dana White. But yeah. So right before that, we saw James Krause do James Krause things, step up on 2 weeks' notice. He never needs a full training camp. He did get his knee obliterated, and I don't think he was being completely honest about that. I think that knee's a lot more messed up than what he was letting on. But good win for him.
Yeah. No, a solid win. First. What was it? 11 years is what they said. The first loss for Silva or 13. No, 2007. That's right, man. 13 years that guy had won. He had fought kind of sporadically. I had mentioned this in my article that I do every week, where like he seems to fight like it's part time. He fights once a year, maybe once every 2 years, and you could tell by some of the way he was throwing punches, he's not a striker, but he was still throwing. But yeah, Krause came in and did his thing, came up on short notice, and that's good money for Krause too. He didn't have to pay for a full training camp. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. He just, is like, all right, let's go, and gets a win and show money or show and win money. That's nice. That's a nice little pocket change out of nowhere.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm sure he's going to have to send out some sort of apology Instagram message or something after his post-fight. Can't wait to get off the hell off this island. The Abu Dhabi locals aren't going to be too happy about that. I'm sure that Dana White's going to be like, hey, go tweet out something, hey, I love it here or something, because they're hooking us up with a lot of things here.
yeah, they're being very generous to the UFC in terms of paying for stuff. So Krause will probably walk that back here pretty shortly.
Yeah, they're letting us call a peninsula an island. Come on, they're giving us that.
Yeah, Five Peninsula, man. We need to trademark that. Get those shirts out. They'll sell.
They let us put an octagon on the beach for photo ops. Come on.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm pretty sure. Drop in the chat if you would buy a Fight Peninsula shirt, because I'm pretty sure most of you would. And if you wouldn't, I'm shocked. So let me know. Please,
I would definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely would rock that. I wonder how many times it's rained out there. With the octagon on the beach this whole time.
No idea. I mean, I don't think many, if any, based on the Instagram stories of people their fight league. It seems that everybody's goofing around. Mark Goddard's out there goofing around with people and stuff. That's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Fight Island, baby.
Yeah. Fight Island. It's apparently not James Krause is not a fan of, because his sleep schedule is completely messed up. So first fight on the main card, Jonathan Martinez, Thomas Almeida, the return of Thomas Almeida. I was excited about this fight because I thought it was just a hell of a matchup, even if Thomas Almeida was not, on this long hiatus, returning from, his eye surgery and things like that. I thought this was a hell of a fight on paper, and I thought this was going to be fight of the night coming in, and it was a pretty damn good fight. But Jonathan Martinez kind of surprised me here. He looked better than I expected. Like, I thought Almeida was going to at least take one round off of it. What do you think?
So I had Martinez going into this fight, especially just because, like, I've seen Martinez from way back. He fought in Amarillo here right before he got called up to the UFC. I heard about him in some of the local scenes where he'd been fighting. He's young. He's very young, and he's just improved. He had that Andre Sukumtat loss when he first got into the UFC, but made some pretty big improvements per fight. And coming off a 2-year layoffs, Almeida, that's got to be rough, especially when he had lost back-to-back fights. He got finished by Rob Font. He I don't want to say he's a bust as a prospect, but he's not this prospect that everybody thought he was, right? 20-0 before he fought Garbrandt, got knocked out by Garbrandt. Now I think he's 1-4 right now. I mean, he's not looking that hot. So I thought it was a great fight. I thought Martinez did what he needed to do to get the win. I thought he might actually get the finish with a couple of those big shots, but Almeida's chin held up. So I thought overall just great performance by Martinez. I think he's going to just keep getting better. He's, again, so young for the sport, and he seems to be making big improvements each time. Almeida, I feel like this is probably the end of the road for that hype train. I think they'll keep him around, but I don't foresee him getting in the top 15 or anything of that anytime soon. I don't know. What do you think?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, 3 in a row, given the time off. But given the time off, I think that's why he's going to get another shot or two potentially in the UFC, depending on how he looks in his next fight out. Because he's not a boring fighter by any means. And I remember him and the Garbrandt fight when that came together. Like, this is the battle of, like, who's going to fall first. Because, like, at that time, like, he was just in there swinging. Same with Cody. Like, two dudes are just going there and just swing and try to take your head off. And obviously, Cody Garbrandt got the better of that one on that night. But Almeida, like, I've been following Almeida's career since way back in 2012 when he fought a dude I went to high school with, Cody Williams. So on Legacy in Legacy back in 2012. And so I've been following his career ever since that, because Cody was my dude and he was like climbing up the ranks, and he was trying to make a push for the UFC, and then ran into Thomas Almeida. And but anyways, that's neither here nor there. Jonathan Martinez, man, for him, like, Factory X looking good. The only complaint I have about Jonathan Martinez, man, you got to get some mic skills, brother. You got to get confident on the mic. I mean, Daniel Cormier he's too polite. I mean, you can be polite and still be assertive on the mic. You know what I mean? But he was just like, no, I don't want to call anybody out. And DC was like, come on, brother, you got somebody. Like, and he was like, nah, I got nothing. Like, yeah. You gotta have some content in some way ready.
Yeah, an Amen report coming out saying it's time to cut Almeida. I don't know. I'm not super against that, to be honest. I'm 50-50. I think he's an exciting fighter, like you talked about, but at the same time, he's lost 3 in a row. He's not lived up to the hype. I wouldn't be terribly upset about that. I think he's going to end up getting one more shot, like you said, but that's not I don't know. I'm not against it. I'm certainly not against that. If they did, I wouldn't be angry. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, actually, considering the new movement of ushering in Contender Series guys left and right. Be like, hey, let's save a little bit of money on Almeida and sign another Contender Series guy. Save some money, because that's what the UFC is all about right now. You know it. That's I know true. It. We all know it. But man. So, no, wait, go ahead.
Oh no. Amen report corrected me. He's 1-4 in his last 5. Yeah. That I thought he was 1-3 in his last 4. 1-4 in his last 5. Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's time. I'm with that, especially given the business side of things, what they're trending on, and the way that they're working right now. I think he's heading to Bellator. I think that's probably what's happening.
I mean, maybe. I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, but yeah, like I said, I think the only reason he gets another fight is because of that layoff. And if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised either. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Again, I wouldn't be mad either way. Yeah. It just is what it is, man. Like you said, 3 in a row, got finished in that by Rob Font, and then you lose every round tonight against Jonathan Martinez. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough sell. It's gonna be a tough sell. His agent's gonna have to go to work. His manager's gonna have to go to work. So
and I'm trying to look up his payout right now, because they obviously stopped. They stopped payouts in terms of like fully releasing them. But let's see.
36 for the Rob Font fight.
Okay, so I mean he's a little bit more expensive. Oh, according to this one I'm looking at from sportekz.com. If this is correct, this is from tonight, so we'll see on that. Thomas Almeida, it looks like 44,000. If that's correct, then I think he probably gets cut, because that's more than double. That's more than than triple the entry level contract and more than double what they're paying a lot of these guys coming off contender series. So yeah, I'm changing my mind. I'm gonna say Almeida's getting cut. We'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, well, I'll definitely be paying attention to that for sure. A couple of things like on the prelims where they weren't super exciting. There were a couple of good fights here and there, but they're mostly decisions. The first two fights of the night were finishes. Lil Nurmagomedov, first fight of the night, did what he was supposed to do. -410 favorite. I mean, he just ran through Striegel, even though Striegel looked like a dude that, just looking at him, he looked like he was going to go in there and upset some people, but nah, that didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. He looked like living up to that lineage. Just wailed on him. Did exactly what he was supposed to do. Can't really say much about that. That's just Nurmagomedov's gonna Nurmagomedov, man. That's what they do.
Yeah, pretty much. And shout out to Jillian Robertson, man. Shout out to her and Dean Thomas, always improving. Most subs for the women at flyweight, and I think was it just at flyweight she has that record, or was it just all women period? I forget how they worded it, but she has the most subs.
I think it's flyweight, but yeah, most subs. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That could be either way. But yeah, I mean, yeah, no, Robertson looked after round one was a little dicey, but then she came out there, looked great, and it was, classic Jillian Robertson. Just, constantly the sneaky ways that she gets mount or changes position is ridiculous. Like, it's just so crafty where that leg, and they brought it up on the broadcast, just slowly inching up. She's so patient with it, and it pays dividends. I mean, that was towards the end there. I was watching that with my girlfriend. Towards the end there, she's just like, "Oh no, I feel so bad," like, because she's just sitting there. Patella's just sitting there, just getting. What do you even do? She's trying to buck her off. You could either give the back or just eat shots to the face. Like that's, it's not a fun time. I wouldn't like to be in that position. That's for sure.
No, for sure. And I think it was DC that said it on the broadcast. Like she's got like that real sticky type of grappling where it's like you can't breathe. Like, she's like in every where there's supposed to be space for you to move, she's there to stop it, and she just sticks to you, and like she will flow with like whatever movement you're trying to make. I know Dan Hardy pointed out that she was keeping that foot on the inside leg that was on the mat to help her feel where the hips were moving, and that's like a really anybody that rolls, you'll know that is a huge thing. You obviously want to go ahead and go to full mount if you can, but if you're that confident to keep that there just to help kind of keep her, where things are moving, then you can do that. And obviously she was very comfortable just wherever Poliana was trying to go and just smashed her up, man. It was, that was just dominant. Just dominant.
Yeah, the dominance, the only word for it that's exactly what it was. Now, one prelim I want to bring up is, I believe it was the Grisham fight with that stoppage. How'd you feel about that stoppage? I saw a lot of people saying that was a little too early. I don't know. I thought it was okay, but I'd love to hear what the viewers think. That stoppage, I mean, you've got other times. I saw somebody brought it up on Twitter. You got some of these times where guys are getting knocked down multiple times. They're eating all these shots, rolling around. Takes a while to get stopped. That seemed like it ended much quicker. So I don't know.
I disagree. I think it was a fantastic stoppage, and here's why. Because he was on the ground getting pounded. He was on the mat getting pounded and not moving. Like, you can turtle up on the ground, intelligent defense. You can stay there for a little bit, eat a few shots, and then move once you find that opening, right? So he already did that at least 2 different occasions on the mat. And then he gets back to his feet and just starts eating shots, and he's not moving. Like, he's just against the fence like this, and Grisham is just unloading. Like, bro, like, you could have stepped off and got out of there. You just decided to stay in one spot, just eating punches. And I don't think he was all the way there, to be honest with you. I think he was a little rocked at least. And he, immediately, obviously when the ref came in, he waved his finger, which was weird to me. It's like, bro, like, the fight just got stopped and you lost. Like, why are you Dikembe Mutombo right now? What's going on? I don't understand.
Shouldn't have had that fight. Shouldn't have fought this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's exactly what he's doing. It's like, hey, you shouldn't have done this.
This was a bad decision.
Yeah, bad decision for you.
But yeah, like no,
no win money for you. All this show, no win money. That's exactly what it's doing.
Yes, but yeah, man, I thought it was fine because he was just getting wailed on and did not move whatsoever. Like there's a difference between turtling up and a difference where it's like it seems like you're rocked and it seems like you're out of the fight, and that's what I read when I was watching it. So if people had a little bit of different opinion on that, I'm sure that's fine. There was only like 5 seconds left in the round when it got stopped.
I think only 2.
No, it was one. Right? Yeah, 2 or 1 second.
Yeah,
actually,
2 seconds. So I think that was part of it. Is like you only got 2 seconds left. You gotta let the guy get out of the round. It's like, and maybe that's what it was. Like you're not getting out of this round. Not on my watch.
Yeah,
you know, this is my octagon. Tisk. I don't know. Yeah, but if you're watching, drop in the chat if you thought it was good or not, because I'm very curious. I have seen a lot more people say it was a bad stoppage than I thought. Because I'm with you. I thought for me it was fine, but I've seen a lot of people contest that and say it was a bad call.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it was the first time he turtled up like that against the fence, I would have been okay with, or I would have been, on board with people saying, yeah, it was a little early. But no, like that was at least the 3rd time he did it in that round. So all that tells me is that I'm done fighting right now. I don't care if there is 1 or 2 seconds left in the round. I mean, those last 2 seconds are part of the round. So kind of got to keep fighting until the very end, which brings up another point. Because I noticed James Krause. I noticed James Krause looking up at the clock a couple of times during his fight. And I know this isn't really necessarily related to anything that we've been talking about, but it's just one of those things that comes up in MMA all the time. Like you see Dana complain about it. Like, why are you looking up at the clock? You see guys saying that all the time. And like, I've never really agreed with that, Never agreed with like, why are you looking up? Like, why is that a big thing? Like if there's a countdown to the competition you're competing in, you kind of should know how much time is left in the round, because that can affect like, okay, what do I want to do here? Like, like if there's 10 seconds left, if I look up and see there's 15 seconds left, okay, I'm not going to shoot that double leg now. Like if I look up, there's 350 left. Okay, I'm going to go for that takedown or it can change your strategy. Like I've never been a fan of like that criticism of why are you looking up at the clock? It shows you don't really want to be here. I don't know. What do you think about that?
So I think it's one of those things where I think that's just Dana being Dana, right? He constantly wants guys going in there, pulling the trigger nonstop. And, as somebody else brought up that I saw during the fights is if this had been Contender Series, I don't think Jonathan Martinez or Thomas Almeida would have gotten a contract. I'm pretty sure those guys would have been like, he looked good, he's great. I'm pretty sure Krause would have got a contract because Dana would have been like, you're looking up at the clock. Like, I'm sorry, you're looking up at the clock. Like, you're looking good, kid, he'll be back. That's exactly what Dana would have said. So I think that's just Dana's personal skew. I think that's part of the risk if you go on Dana White Contender Series is you have to know you need a finish or you need to be gunning for one, and you can't do that. But I think once you're signed and in terms of like actual UFC fights, it makes tons of sense. You want to be smart. Krause took this fight on 6 days notice. He probably doesn't have like the full cardio he needs. It's not like he's been running miles and prepping a full camp here. I think it makes perfect sense to look at the clock. I don't know, man. But I wish they would have cut to Dana once they saw, Krause looking at the clock. I wish somebody would have mentioned it, just cut to Dana and Chimaev just sitting there, just shaking their heads like, no, man, what are you doing? How could you?
Yeah.
How could you do that? Yeah.
You just gave me a new idea for like a piece or something that can be reoccurring where it's like, which fight on this card would you not have given a Contender Series contract for?
On some cards, we're talking the entire card, man. Some cards, we're talking literally start to finish. But others,
no doubt about that.
Yeah,
I could see Dana like being so furious after some of these fights and just getting on the mic like, if this was a Contender Series fight, I wouldn't have given him a contract. I could see him doing that.
Yeah,
I could see it.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I can see it 100%. Yeah, that's a great idea though. It's just. They should just. I also think they should just have basically pan over. Always have Dana sitting there, and then, of course, Khamzat Chimaev sitting right next to him, and it just should pan over. And then Dana looks at Khamzat, and just Khamzat holds up a little piece of white paper that says contract or no contract. It either shakes his head or gives him the thumbs up. Just every fight, regardless of what's going on. I think it makes sense. Add a little judge's flair to it.
No doubt. No doubt. So we got a few people watching us live right now. Please hit the thumbs up on the video if you're enjoying what we're talking about. And please subscribe to the channel because we have videos that come out all week long about all sorts of things going on in the world of MMA. We are also the Chimaev News Network, #CNN. So all of your breaking Chimaev news, you can find her here.
And even if you're not watching this live, make sure if you're watching this and then you want to comment, go ahead and comment because we're very good at checking the comments. Eamon Report, I want to, after you watch those fights, when you get home, you watch the fights, I want to know how you felt about that stoppage. I mean, anybody else, you know, it's one of those things where, well, let's also, all right, this gives me a great idea for this. Let us know which fights you would have given a contract or which fights you were like, nah, there's no way those guys would have had contracts based on tonight's fight card. I think that's a good call. Let's go ahead and apply what you're talking about, Mr. Wells, and put it to this live chat.
I like it.
I feel like there are a couple that probably wouldn't have gotten signed, you know.
No, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I tell you what, though, that one bald guy is definitely getting a contract. To name Ortega,
yeah.
Brian, they call him P-City or something like that.
You have a lot of, you know, legendary figures and icons in MMA. You have C-level Kane. You have hair salon quality Dustin Poirier. You know, I think
I haven't heard about that.
Well, when he went from, you know, he got knocked out by Michael Johnson. He was bald. Yeah. Then he let his hair go out. He got that hair looking nice. He's been, you know, shout out to Dustin Poirier, really take care of his hair. And since then, he's just been killing it. And I think now you've got bald Ortega. You got the reverse of Dustin Poirier, where he just shaved it all off and looking, you know, looking like he's a brand new man. So I think he could very well be a new, you know, mythological figure in the MMA space. We'll see. Yeah. Well,
give us your MMA superlatives, or nicknames or monikers, whatever you want to call it. C-level Kane. I have third round Romero, motivated BJ, TRT Tour, Vitor. Yeah, there's a couple other ones out there too.
Ubereem, obviously.
Ubereem. Ubereem's my favorite because he acknowledges the different iterations of his you know, his character.
Yeah.
Ubereem, Econoreem, to what I forget what was the other one he calls it, but 30% Usman. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Our man Jake in the back there on the ones and twos dropping in 30% Usman. I like that.
That's great. It's a great call. And even report again talking about Ortega versus Volkanovsky. I mean, yeah, that is an intriguing matchup. Let's, you know, it's one of those things where like that I don't know how that fight goes. Personally, I'd favor Volkanovsky a little bit. I think 275-pound Volkanovsky is a superlative we can throw out there, you know, because he used to weigh 275 pounds or 300 pounds or whatever it is.
That is fascinating. We need to study that man. Study him.
I don't think he actually did. I think he weighed 170 when he was playing rugby, and then people have just blown that number just higher and higher. I think he weighed 4,000 pounds at one point. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Volkanovsky weighed 4,000 pounds at one point.
How did he even walk? It's amazing. He was on that, what was that documentary, My Fat Life or something, where they had to forklift people around. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Now he's the featherweight champion of the world. What a turnaround. Yeah. What a turnaround. It's incredible.
And that's, I mean, I'm excited for that fight though. That should be an awesome, I think it should get a headlining spot. I don't know if it will. If not, I'd love to see it as a co-main again to Dustin and McGregor. I think that'd be an amazing card if you have those two fights booked as the main and co-main. I don't even care what position. You could have the title fight up top. I'm sure McGregor would love that. I'd be all about that fight. That'd be pretty sweet.
No, it'd be a fantastic fight, and especially considering the Volk that we just saw last too. Because Ortega showed a style tonight that is really conducive for a 5-round fight. And obviously we know Volk can do that now, right? So it'd be interesting. And I think Volkanovsky is going to be smart enough to not get into that clinch range with Ortega, or at least when he gets in there, knows how to get right back out, because that's Ortega's best path to victory. Obviously Ortega's going to have the reach advantage too. So It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be a good fight.
Give it to me at January by the latest, please. Please.
Yeah. Don't wait like a year or 2 years on that. If they do, I will be very upset.
I know, especially like the fact that Dana announced it like before Ortega even had his post-fight, in thing, and like he was like he told Dana or told DC like, yeah, he's getting the shot. Like the fact that you said it that quickly makes me want to see it even more quickly.
Yeah, I want that fight. Like, you know what? I'd bump Nurmagomedov and Gaethje and put on that fight instead. Let's give Ortega a shot to be the what would it be? That would be 7-day turnaround and for the belt. I mean, come on. I'm sure everyone would love that. Would just be super psyched to see Khabib and Gaethje get pushed out another 9 months so that this fight could slot right in there. I'm sure everyone would be super excited.
It's not like we're used to having to wait for Khabib to fight or anything. So
yeah,
it'd be something brand new for us.
Yeah, man. He never takes a layoff, that guy. He's constantly fighting.
No. Every fight he's ever been scheduled for always goes off without a hitch. Tony Ferguson included. I mean,
yeah, he's fought Tony Ferguson 6 times up to this point. Just
fight of the night every time. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I think we're winding down on this one on our post-fight Fight Island 6 show. Go ahead and leave your comments below. Hit the thumbs up on the video, please. Subscribe to the channel, please. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we wrap this thing up?
No, man. I'm excited for next week. That's going to be a big one. We'll be doing some videos talking about that. We'll be really, really getting into that one. That should be a big, big fight. I'm hoping it lives up to the hype, and I don't see how it won't, given who's in there. So super excited about that. And yeah, other than that, like and subscribe, drop those comments. Even if you're not watching this live, drop the comments, and I promise I will go back and answer them myself personally.
Yes.
Especially if you say Andrade is not #1 contender, because then you're getting a paragraph about why that should be the case. So, that's just how it is.
Facts. Yeah, subscribe to the channel because we will be doing this again next week right after the main event. So we're going to be here to recap it all once again. Hopefully we have a couple other guys from the site on with us as well, so we have a bigger panel to discuss everything, because this is the type of fight that everybody will be wanting to talk about immediately. So I expect MMA Twitter to be blowing up all night next Saturday evening. So it's going to be a fun time. And also, all of you people that are watching right now, after you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, look at the timing on the production of the show. Go watch Lomachenko versus Lopez, which is about to start here in just a few minutes. It's on ESPN Plus. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go far from UFC. So if you're still watching, still got that window up on your computer or whatever, just click on over. Lomachenko, Lopez.
Do it. And Eamon report, yes, we get. We'll see what Dana says about fans of Texas, but Texas will do it 100%. There's no way Jerry Jones won't say yes to that. He's already said yes. I'm pretty sure. I'm being down here. I've seen football games of people. Yeah, yes, it's Texas. We will allow it. It's up to Dana. So
exactly.
I think Mr. Wells, you're also living in Texas. Yeah. Yes.
Listen, as someone who lives,
now go watch Lomachenko Lopez.
Yeah, as someone who lives 30 minutes away, with traffic from Jerry World, I would love for that fight to take place here. But let's just be smart about it. All right, let's not be the reason coronavirus carries on another 6 months. So let's just be smart about it. And I won't be that selfish. Saying do it here. I must be there. Nah. But yeah, I think that'll do it for us, folks. Thumbs up, subscribe. Pat, this was fun, man. Do it again next weekend.
Yep, let's do it.